we at the level of the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries, as well as the Cabinet, started to ask the questions, well, what is this, and estimate the cost of how much this operation would eventually cost us in Trinidad and Tobago. What I can say is that the cost that we have estimated at this stage from the central government side, and certainly what we've been managing at the Ministry of Energy along with Heritage and other service providers that we've retained from central government and the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries, we can be looking at anywhere from 14 to 20 million US dollars. That's our best estimate at this stage. And of course, in Tobago, they too, via the THA, have been incurring certain costs that ultimately will come to us at central government, and we will do an exercise along with the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Energy will do an exercise of looking at it to see what inside of those cost estimates or those costs that are put forward to us at central government are in fact reasonable costs for us to be able to deal with. The good news is, fortunately, in 2001, Trinidad and Tobago signed up to the International Convention on Civil Liability for Oil Pollution Damage, 1992. That's the International Convention on Civil Liability for Oil Pollution Damage, 1992, as well as the International Convention on the Establishment of an International Fund for Compensation for Oil Pollution Damage, 1992. So in 2001, we signed on to these bodies, which are basically international bodies that have a formula. If you're importing and exporting over a certain amount of tonnage of fuel a year, and it was 150,000 tons of fuel-type substance a year via maritime routes, you could join up with these bodies, and you had to contribute to these funds. So this Civil Liability Convention, as well as what we call the IOPC Fund Convention, the International Oil Pollution, the International Fund for Compensation for Oil Pollution Damage, existed. And I am pleased to advise that the decision coming out of the submissions we made and the persuasive submissions that we made, the Fund's Executive Committee decision is as follows. The 1992 Fund Executive Committee decided that the 1992 Civil Liability and Fund Conventions would apply to this incident, and they immediately authorized the Director to make payments of compensation in respect of claims arising from this incident. So I am glad to report to Trinidad and Tobago that leading the delegation, we made submissions to the IOPC Fund, and we were successful in those submissions, getting over a number of hurdles. We have given an assurance to the fund that we will continue to work with them to try and locate the owners of these vessels and those who are responsible for it, and that if we are able to pursue any claims, we will then subrogate those claims to the IOPC Fund. The good news, though, Trinidad and Tobago, is that we have succeeded in persuading the Executive Committee that for the Tobago oil spill incident, all reasonable claims that are made will be compensated by this fund.